Way to not play, Chris. That was awesome. We are here at Novo Guitars. We are in Nashville, Tennessee, and we are with Matthew Timmons. Welcome, Matthew.
What's up? How's it going, everybody?
Welcome to the local pickup. I'm Jason Broadwater.
I'm Chris Gervais.
And we couldn't be more excited. We're here for the NAMM show, and more importantly, we're here to meet some wonderful people that make some wonderful, wonderful guitars. We got two brands going here we're going to talk about, Novo Guitars and Rivolta. So let's start with this. Before we get into the specific guitars, tell us a little bit about Novo Guitars.
Yeah, so Novo Guitars is a company owned and founded by Dennis Fano. A lot of people might have known Dennis for his various guitar brands and ventures over the years. He started Novo in 2015 in Eastern Pennsylvania, making guitars in his basement by himself, one at a time.
Hey,
and now we have been here in Nashville for 2 years, and we have 14 employees.
Wow!
And we're shipping worldwide, and it's an amazing thing. So.
Congrats, man.
Yeah. It's going really
and
well.
What's your role here at the company?
I'm the general manager, so I run the company. So Dennis does all of the prototyping and all the design and all that stuff, and I just do all the day-to-day so he can stay in there and
that's great.
design the guitars, and I'll make sure
Better
everything
for all
else
of us.
happens.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Keep Dennis.
Keep Dennis being creative, and I'll make sure that we get the toilet paper on.
That's
order,
right.
You know what I mean? That's my job.
That's really important.
Make sure that we're stocked with the toilet paper.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
You know how important that job is until you let
until you let it slip. Yeah, right.
It's really exciting when we have to decide like, what kind of paper towels do we want in the break room. It's very important decisions.
Yeah,
it's not easy, not easily done.
Very important decision.
And you guys are shipping guitars all over. I became aware of Novo because I'm on Reverb all the time, and I started seeing them pop up as used guitars, which means they've had to sell in the retail world and circle back around.
And I still get irrationally upset every time I see one
like,
on the used one. I'm like, I know who you are. I remember when you emailed me and you liked that guitar. I'm kidding. It's fun. Yeah.
So you guys, I guess, is it mostly in the U.S.?
We're actually all over. Our biggest dealer is actually in the UK.
Oh, wow. Really?
And we ship to Sweden, we ship to Finland, we ship to Norway, we ship to Japan.
Wow.
We ship to France. We're everywhere.
That's great.
Or at least everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of more places I want to be. But we're Dennis had a pretty good reputation from all his different ventures over the years. So he had a very strong dealer network worldwide right out of the bat. There was 13 dealers when I came on.
That's
I was the first employee hired. So really, I've done no sales since I started at Novo.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely none. Because the guitars are that great.
They're just coming.
I just make sure
the toilet paper thing.
Yes, that's my job.
I imagine it's hard to keep up with production.
Well, the real big thing is that we get so many people that want them, so many people that the dealers don't want to come on, and I can't add any because my dealers that exist, they want more guitars. We're currently at about 45 guitars a month. Right now, and we're about 400 guitars back ordered, and I got dealers coming at me. They want more. So it's a great place to be.
These guitars they take a while to make, right?
They do. Yeah. They do. Now it's probably about 8 weeks once we decide we want to make one.
Okay.
But the backlog is so long. It just takes us months to get to it. But
so let's talk about.
I don't think I could make a guitar in 8 weeks.
No, I
mean, I can make something.
I mean, we've got 12 people here on the line.
Oh,
so
that's great.
That helps a lot.
And this is a Novo right here.
This is a Novo
talk
right
to us
here.
About this guitar.
Yeah, so this right here is our sort of flagship model. This is kind of the first one that Dennis designed for the Ceres line. It's a Novo Ceres T. So the idea with it's got a classic Tele bridge pickup here. It's got a gold foil in the neck. These are Lawler pickups, beautiful stuff. And the idea behind this is it's a sort of Tele style guitar, but it's an offset body shape. And Dennis is a huge offset body shape fan, and so are we. We really like the idea of having like a bigger bodied guitar that's really balanced.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the design. So you've got like the offset shape, you've got those sort of sharp roundovers. It's the kind of slab body style of a T. So all of our Ceres line have this body shape, and then we do kind of different versions of it.
Yeah.
So this is like the T version of that. So
well, it's definitely unique. It doesn't look like a Telecaster. I mean, you can see that there's influences of
it's shades of various guitars.
The way I like to describe it is that if you're looking for a Tele, this is your guitar, and if you're not looking for a Tele, this is your guitar. So it makes sense for everything.
Well, I love the old 60s gold foil pickups. So the fact to be able to switch back and forth between a bridge Tele pickup and a gold foil.
And that middle position is nuts.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
It does all kinds of.
Let's hear a little bit of it. So that's the middle clean. All right. Then compare that to one of the single pickups. So we're going back to the bridge. Yeah. And then get us up to the neck. Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, and we do a lot of little things slightly different. You know, we got like the witch hat knobs on there, which is kind of a staple. We've got that sort of unique control plate instead of doing a hot dog.
Yeah.
Witch hat knobs. That's awesome.
Witch hat
I never
knobs.
noticed that shape before. That's 100%
Yeah, it's
what
super
that
cool.
is.
That's what would be on like a Jazzmaster style.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just like kind of putting it on everything. It's a two-piece maple neck, obviously original headstock design too, and a really cool finish. This is our Burgundy Sparkle. It's been sort of a big hit. We have an artist, Rhett Schull, that we work with.
Okay.
His main guitar is a Burgundy Sparkle, so we get tons of orders for it.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So it's kind of like, you know, we never really set out to be kind of a sparkle company. You know, we do a lot of these in like black and butterscotch blonde.
Yeah.
And, you know, traditional kind of telly style colors, but then it's really fun to do something real sparkly and fun like that. So it's a very like simple guitar, you know. It's just another thing that, you know, this example right here has a sparkle on it, but we use pine for the bodywood.
Yeah, so talk about that.
okay,
Talk about
wow.
that.
Yeah. So Dennis, when he was setting out to do Novo and we were prototyping a bunch of cool stuff, we were trying to figure out like what would set things apart, and you know, a lot of different things in, and you know, we had a supplier, Tempered Tone Woods, that had sent us tempered pine. Now, tempered is just his word for roasted or cooked. You know, you see a lot of people that do like roasted maple, which this guitar has that as well. We use the word tempered.
Okay.
So the idea is to cook the wood, get it more resonant, get the moisture out of there, get a lot less movement on it, and sort of simulate as much of an old growth as you possibly can. You know, people say that vintage guitars sound better. Well, they've been out in the elements for so long, so we're trying to recreate that as best we can, and we just love the way pine sound. One of the things that makes us really excited is the customers bond with the guitar very early and very quickly. So that's part of why we distress it, because we want you to be able to play it as loud and as nasty and
not worry about
it. And then the neck is broken in, right?
Yeah.
Like we want it to feel like it's a neck that's been played on for that long. So a lot of people that like feel like distressing is sort of controversial like idea, like we're doing it aesthetically, we think it's cool, but a lot of it is just feel. So even if we did the guitar as an extra light, that's what we call, we don't do a clean finish, we call it an extra light distress, we would do the neck the same way.
Oh wow.
Because that is the most important part. That's the way the neck is supposed to feel, and so that's what we do. So
very cool, man.
Do you ever get to have fun stuff where you distress guitars by throwing them around outside?
No. Dennis still distresses pretty much every single one. We have another person, Kelly, who does the light distresses. Dennis still does the mediums, but it's a very, you know, I mean, he has rocks and like razor blades, and he just goes to town on them. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Seems like
That's
super
crazy.
Cool.
And so what's the neck made out of again? The fingerboard, I mean.
This is a two-piece maple neck. So what we do is we get a 6/4 piece of maple and we'll slice it, put the truss rod in, and glue it back up. So it's the same piece. We just do that. So there's no skunk stripe, and we wanted to make the neck construction the same, whether we're doing ebony or rosewood.
Very
but
cool.
It's tempered maple, and we're you know, sort of, you know, evangelist when it comes to the tempered stuff.
Oh, really?
We absolutely think it's the best way to go.
Huh, that's cool.
Absolutely.
And it's got a truss rod, like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah,
man.
it's rad.
And so in the switches, you got obviously back pickup, front pickup, and then the middle.
Yeah,
so it's a three-way switch.
It's a three-way.
Like
so this one is slightly different than our normal spec. Normally we would do a what we call a P45 in the neck.
Okay.
So it's a Lindy Fralin pickup that's it's a one magnet P90.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little bit brighter. So one of the themes that we go for here at Novo is bright, bright, bright. We want the guitar to be like, you know, as bright as we can be, and not in a negative way. We're not talking ice picky or shrill, but we love big, bright tones, and that's what the idea behind what we do is, you know, we don't want any mud, because a lot of what you can do with a bright guitar is if you need to turn it down a little bit, you've got amps, you've got pedals, but if you've got a muddy guitar, then it's just really hard to get out of that.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
true.
So with that, the way we kind of philosophy we have for everything, and that the pine really works for that. It's really resonant and really balanced, but just really, really loud. black, you want to be able to feel and see that finish on the guitar. It's sort of what we're known for now. It's something that Dennis kind of stumbled upon. He realized that soft pine really took it that way. Like, you know, he'd done one and he kind of was using some different techniques and realized that grain was popping. And he was like, well, I like this. This is cool. It's like, you know, a lot of other guitars are very smooth finish, and that's the idea behind it. And we want to remind you that it's wood.
Well, to have Dennis himself stressing and handling each guitar is part of what makes it slow to make, but what makes it a high quality.
I
product.
mean, I don't foresee any time soon where he's not going to handle every single one. I mean, we've talked a lot about that, like, you know, how do we grow? Where do we go when we got this many people wanting guitars? And at some point, you have to make that decision. Like, how many of these is he's actually gonna see?
I've got an idea, man. You just produce as many as possible. Let somebody else produce them. Just run the name into the ground and just try to make a little money on them.
Well, that is a fantastically terrible idea.
I'm a business consultant.
Or alternatively, you could clone him.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We've talked about that. It's going to be tough to get the beard right if you see it's tough to get the beard right. It's going to tip him off because it's a magnificent
You would have
beard.
you'd have to get the beard. You have to go find clothes for him.
You know,
can't have a naked clone.
It's as being the second person or the first person hired, the second person to work for the company. It's always been an interesting part of growing this thing to try to make it not just about Dennis, because Dennis is the star and Dennis designs the guitars and people know Dennis. But when you're trying to build production instruments and do a good job, you're trying to figure out how do we make it to where it's not just about what he's doing. And I think we've got a really good team here, and you know, it's great that he's here every day and still, no matter what, going to be, you know, doing the final touches on all the instruments.
But you got a great crew here.
We got a great crew. It's an unbelievable team that we got here.
And you said 14 people?
14 people, yeah.
Man, that's
it's
impressive.
super fun, yeah.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
And
a lot of toilet paper, though.
Yeah,
14
right.
people,
Ooh, I'm sure that's hard to do your job.
You've probably done all the math on it.
Yes, all the math.
All the math.
All the maths.
Yeah. And you have a beautiful showroom.
Thank you very much.
There's other guitars.
There's a lot of guitars here. Now, you might notice that there's no Novos
There's
back
one.
there. Is there one? Oh,
the
yeah,
green
there's one. We snuck
green.
one in there.
Yeah, right.
We can take a look at.
Those are all Rivoltas, which is what this is.
Yes, this is Rivolta.
And that's not John Rivolta, the actor. This is not named after him.
That's not John.
No.
That's John.
I'm leaving.
You thought you were going to meet John Travolta today?
This is a 3 pickup.
Yes.
Tell me about this guitar.
Yeah, so this is the Rivolta Mondata. So right around the time that we started really heating things up with Novo, we also wanted to sort of think about other things that we can do, because Dennis is a design machine, right? He's always coming up with really cool ideas, really neat things. It's a very distinct sort of aesthetic that he goes for. So we came up with the idea of working with Mike Robinson over at Eastwood Guitars.
Yes.
He had reached out to Dennis and said maybe we should work together, do some designs. So we started up an import line called Rivolta.
Excellent.
And it's awesome because then we get to do all kinds of really fun designs like this, and then still make the Novos, and we get these, and they're all set up in-house. So we still get to see every single one that goes out.
So you're designing them, and then you're having Eastwood's manufacturing.
They're making them over in Korea at the Mir factory, and then they're getting shipped here, and we get to take a look at them. We've got a couple people in-house that are dedicated to working on Rivoltas, and it's
well,
super
they're
awesome.
just awesome.
So this one right here is a really cool guitar. It's a triple Firebird.
Which is like a mini
V.
humbucker, basically.
Yeah, it was sort of the answer to when Gibson was going for something a little more stratty.
Okay.
So it's very bright pickups, which again is what we really like. And it's a really cool switching system on here because you get every single tone. So a lot of times with a 3-way, you would do with 3 pickups, you do a 5-way. So it's Strat style, but this one has a dedicated 3-way. So you've got bridge. You've got bridge and neck, and you've got neck, and this just brings in the middle pickup.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. So
you guys sitting here trying to figure that out without me.
Yeah.
It took a little bit.
So what?
Sounds like more math.
But this is
a lot of
3.
math.
This is a 3-way. So how does that work?
So you've got middle pickup is off, middle pickup is on with whatever you have chosen over here, middle pickup by itself.
Oh, so let's hear some of this stuff.
Wow.
So middle pickup is off. Where am I now? Up here?
You're on the bridge.
All right. Oh, I'm back here. This is in the middle. It's splitting these two.
Wow.
Now you got neck.
Now I can bring in.
Now that's the middle pickup and then the neck pickup.
Oh, because I'm set to neck here. And then just
middle by itself.
it's a volume and
tone. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So it's cool. We do that switching system on any guitars that we make that are 3 pickup because you get, I mean, for me, the money position's always bridge and neck, right? And if you lose that, if you have a middle pickup and you're just going to go through that. So we love to do that so you can kind of capture every single
Yeah,
thing.
that's
so
cool, man.
You don't want to lose any tones. I mean, you got
Yeah.
all those pickups for a reason. So and it's funky too. It's a little funkier that way.
And then you've got it is bright.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And so these are probably
heads.
less expensive than
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So like the Novo line starts at $25.99. That's this guitar. Would
$25.99.
It's
That's
a steal.
that's not
It's
bad.
a steal. You want how many do you want?
A couple of them,
you want
please,
A couple
yes.
Of them today, please do. $2,599.
Okay, got
There's those masks coming in again. This one's a little
You're
bit.
good at this mess stuff.
I just
this
don't
one's-
get it.
You
We're gonna have to start
do
over,
you need
guys.
to take off? You gotta count your toes. Take
Yeah,
off
right.
your shoes.
Yeah.
Count your toes too.
That's a lot. We're gonna need a lot of people for that many toes,
I got
guys.
a few.
Yeah, right.
I need to go sit in the other room for a little while.
But these ones start at our Revolta line starts at $8.99.
Oh,
and up.
great. Yeah. That lets a lot more people get access to
Yeah,
it.
we kind of
Yeah.
were looking at it like, with the Novo stuff, it's like not only is it a little bit, priced, we think it's priced really well for the line.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We agree with
But,
that.
they're harder to get, so it's like,
Yeah.
how can we make something that people can get?
Yeah.
And they're a great combo, having both, because they're
Yeah.
very different as far as execution goes.
Yeah.
Like these ones are all, kind of that classic sort of, dipped in glass, buffed finish, where
Right.
all our stuff is nitro and it's super, super thin. You've got, set neck on all these, where all these are bolt on.
Yeah.
These ones are all like 24 frets, 25-inch radius, 12-inch scale. So they're a little bit more modern feeling. where
Right.
We're pretty much going old school.
That
there.
feels retro, yeah.
Nobody checked my numbers on that.
Oh, right.
I threw that completely off. But
And you got
Yeah.
nice tuners, closed back tuners
yeah.
on these things, yeah.
So it's
Very
cool.
cool.
So we can kind of go a little more premium on these guys with the double binding. We got the cool block inlays.
Those
Yeah.
inlays are so cool. I
I love
these.
them.
I saw them when we
inlays,
pulled up.
yeah.
I like saw them.
Through the window, he saw.
Yeah.
I literally was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, those inlays.
He's like, look at those inlays.
Yeah, and that's the fun part about doing, 2 lines is we can kind of experiment with things. We're not
Yeah.
making import versions of the Novo. We're doing a completely unique design that's cool. So you can do both. Yeah.
Which is great, man, because, one thing that I've always found difficult, especially, I've learned a lot more about guitars. We're still learning every day, but I've learned a lot more about guitars as we've researched it and stuff. But growing up, I was like, okay, so there's a Strat that's $150 and $350 and $750 and $950 and
Yeah.
$1,400. I'm like, what is the difference?
Yeah.
Like, why? How do I know?
It's a really good point. It's something that I've talked a lot about with the team and just our dealers in general, as far as when you try to do that stuff. I think that it's like, are you making the best guitar you
Right.
possibly can for where you make it? Is this the best possible guitar we can make overseas? Is this the best possible guitar we can make in the USA? And that to me that's whatever that is, that's the price. And you can try to hit all these different price points with what you're trying to go for, but for us it's really important that people know this is the best guitars that we can possibly make.
And brands
that's it.
communicate. Yeah, brands communicate things. So once people understand, okay, they're making really high quality guitars that sell in the $2,000, $300,000 whatever range, then you're like, okay, I know what a Novo is. And so if you see a Novo, you're like, that's a nice guitar.
Yeah.
And it helps communicate to you simply. Versus, is that like my brother would ask me, we'd see a Strat, he'd be like, is that an expensive guitar? I'm like, I have no idea.
It's a good one. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And
Yeah.
so, for us, it's like that's a big question as we go forward. If we want to make more guitars, do we cut corners? Do we use cheaper
Right.
parts? Do we do that? And it's not something that we can ever do, because the reputation right now is so high with what we're going for. So
Really, that's the thing I keep thinking when I look around at these guitars. There's a room full of guitars, and I just absolutely every little square inch of every guitar to me feels, I've said this already, but it feels figured out. It feels thought about and figured
Yeah,
out.
That's a really good point, because for us, that's the biggest is the word design. It's the idea that you might look at a guitar and it might have a pick guard that does this, and it might have knobs are here, and for us, and what Dennis does is he can go in and explain sort of every single decision that we make.
Yeah.
On every single reason why we do it the way we do it, why everything is positioned the way it is. I mean, even just down to the point of why the horns are the way they are. It's nothing arbitrary about it. It's all about
That's-
fit.
yeah.
It's all about feel. It's It's all about comfort. I mean, that's a super lightweight guitar too. All the wood that we get is super lightweight. We're incredibly picky because we know it's a bigger guitar. It's got a little bit of an ass on it right there. So it's like it's got to be lightweight, or it's gonna throw people off.
Absolutely,
so.
yeah. And there's also some poets speaking to poets in there, like, because I can see like that the saddles on that. I've got a 52 Telly reissue, and man, it's so similar to that on the back.
Yeah.
In a good way, like it's an allusion to some
Absolutely.
of the cool stuff
And
Leah did.
there's a tone there that you can't get away from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, on those saddles. And they're compensated, so you can get them, you know, your intonation's going to be a lot easier than on just regular ones. So we get some good ones. These are Goto ones from Japan. So that's important to us to make. But then there's a certain point where you have to decide, like we're going tone. You know, I mean, you can get a 6-saddle bridge that's going to intonate a little bit differently, but there's a tone here and there's a vibe and an energy.
Yeah.
You know, when you're playing on that, that's just you can't get anywhere else.
Right. Yeah.
That's the way to go. It's something that you'll feel while you're playing it, and then but you might not be able to like put a name to or say like, oh, this is why. It's just like, oh, this feels right. I remember the first time I saw like the prototype for these things. I was like, you know, before I even worked for Dennis, and I was like looking, and I would hound his Facebook and hound like the Novo Guitars launch like landing page, and I would like refresh it, wait to see it. And I remember the first time he posted a picture of like the bodies of the guitars, and I was like, oh man, that looks big. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's just like I like that. Yeah. It's like it's so him.
And you know, it's funny too, cool. Like you know, and this is in no way a negative towards either one.
No.
But when you pick this up, it feels, of course, well designed, but it feels manufactured. When you pick that up, it feels made. Like like somebody stood back there and made it.
Well, that's what we do, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I got guys. I mean, you know, we run these guys on a CNC, so we've got machines doing some of the work at the very beginning. You know, you got to cut the bodies out, but after that, I mean, the amount of handwork that it takes to sort of get it to feel that good, it's like we're really, really proud of that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Every single thing that happens, from the wood coming in to paint to everything, happens in this building, and not every single guitar manufacturer can say that.
Right.
You know, especially at our size. You know what I mean? As we're trying to grow, like that we do everything in house. It's a big deal for us to get to that point, to be able to do all of it. It's sort of this idea that like you can keep innovating, right? Where you can try to invent a new pickups, you can invent a new bridge, invent new tuners, and then at some point you can kind of step back and go, I think Leo got it right.
Yeah, right.
And you could say like, so what do I want to do if he got it right for the most part? I mean, there's modern things, there's, you know, radiuses and frets and you know, better pickups, and like there's stuff, but like the bare bones are the same. So what can I do? It's like design.
Yeah.
Right? How do I make something that feels different, that has an energy that's different, that looks cool, and take all of those elements and not, you know, there's been some amazing innovations in the electric guitar since the early 50s, but what we're trying to do is take it and say like, we love the way they did it, and it's like, here how we do our spin on it, and you got to make sure that it sounds great and plays great too. It can't just look cool. It's got to sound great, it's got to play great, and so, you know, I think that
You've achieved that, my friend.
I think we've done it.
We believe that there's a renaissance happening. You saw it happen in beer first. There used to be like 4...
Did you bring some?
No. There used to be like 4 beer makers, you know, in the country pretty much. Now, like everywhere you go, there's people that make beer.
Yeah.
And what's happening in the other craft areas, like guitars, you know, I used to know of Gibson and Fender and Gretsch maybe, but now it's like there's all these artisan makers, and then there's the ones that can bring that into kind of the professional, like you guys are professionally distributing quality guitars that are still of the artisan ilk, like, you know, Dennis
that's
is
the goal.
handling
I mean, that's the goal, is to how many people can I have working on these things and how many can I make but still feeling as good as that guitar.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's our life, you know, is trying to figure that out. That's my goal. Like Dennis, you know, sets the standard, and then we're going to try to figure out like how to do that. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's super crazy.
Yeah, well, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you so much for having us here. This place is
it's been
beautiful.
awesome. You know, I've been looking forward to this.
That's awesome.
You know, since I heard from you guys. So.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna spend a little bit of time, like we're in a guitar center, noodling on these guitars until you make
Please
us leave.
do.
Yeah.
And you want to play Stairway to Heaven and Smoke on the Water? Please do. I'm super into it.
Okay, cool. Well, you've been a gracious host. These are gorgeous guitars, and people can find them obviously on the internet.
Yeah, we've got it. You know, you can go to rivoltaguitars.com. You can find our dealer, list over there. Same thing, novoguitars.com. You can find our dealer list.
Yeah.
And if you're ever in Nashville, You can come by the shop, like these guys who are waiting for me to talk to them that just walked in right now.
Yeah.
But we do appointments. So
Okay,
you can
cool.
book an appearment on our website, so that's the way I know that you're coming and I
Yeah.
can be ready for you.
Very
So,
cool,
perfect.
man. Well, thank you so much, Matthew.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
Awesome.
And
Thanks,
y'all
guys.
check out Rivolta Guitars, check out Novo Guitars, and we'll see you next week on the local pickup.
Awesome.